Welcome back to the Getting a Grip podcast. What are you looking at? Yeah.
Nothing.
Anyway, no guesses as to what we'll be chatting about today. As the Australian Open has concluded in the last couple of days, there's a few talking points that we're going to get into. I mean, obviously, Djokovic has won his 22nd Grand Slam, which the whole world now knows about, plus the 10th Australian Open, of course. Tsitsipas was rather affectionate, shall we say, towards him. We might talk a little bit about that later. And then, in the doubles, obviously men's doubles, we had another All-Australian pair take the title. So second year in a row there. And then the women's side, I was pretty impressed with that final. I thought Rybakina had that, to be honest, when she was a set up, but Sabalenka just, mentally incredibly resilient, and just like the movement from those two players like of that size was just incredible to me, and seeing how like the sport is kind of progressing there. So we're going to talk about all those kind of things, but obviously we're doing it in a quiz format, so Merlin's got all the questions prepared, so take it away, Quizmaster.
Yeah, don't you worry. We have got all the questions nicely lined up, and it will hopefully bring us on to all of the interesting topics that have been raised as a result of this Australian Open. So we're going to start with the women's side. So question number 1 is about the ladies' singles. So what I want to know, obviously we know that Sabalenka battled through to beat Rybakina 2-1, and please pardon the way I pronounce names, for example. If any of you think that that's the wrong way, I'm perfectly happy to be corrected. Just let me know. But what I want to know, and a stat that tends to always elude us when we look at tennis, is how many points did Sabalenka win in the entire match? So we always talk in these odd scoring methods with games, sets, and all of this sort of stuff. But really what we want to know is how many single points were won throughout the match. And often, with the scoring format that we have, it's always quite close, but the victor comes out with more points. So, something for the tennis world to consider maybe one day. Anyway, how many points did Sabalenka win when she beat Rybakina? Number 1 is 90. Option number 2 is 100. Option number 3 is 110. And option number 4 is 120. What do you reckon?
So the scoreline, you might have to remind me, was 4-6. Was it 6-3 or 4 in the second? And then was it 6-4 again in the third set? I can't remember. Anyway, so
I can't remember that specifically either.
I remember a lot of games. Well, I was kind of half asleep at this point, I'll be honest, but I've had a few too many drinks, but a lot of games went to juice, I think. Certainly in one of the sets, it was like every game so far has gone to juice. So that makes me think there's quite a few points on top of what you would consider the normal, 6 games, 4 points kind of thing. So I'm thinking definitely over 100. What were the final 2 options?
110 or 120?
Maybe that's too much. 4 games, 6 games, 6 games, lots of juices. Ooh. You're right, this is going to be difficult. I will go with 110.
Final answer?
Yeah, let me out of my misery, come on.
That is correct. Well done. Oh. Yes, it is true. Sabalenka did beat Rybakina by racking up 110 points in their best of 3 or first to 3 sets match. So
Best of two sets.
Best of two sets. Yeah.
Best of three. You got it right. Yeah.
Best of three. I was right to begin with. What happened to me? So I've had a long day. You were starting your day.
Oh, so have I.
Yes. So it was 110 points that Sabalenka obtained. What do we think? I mean, we could just count the amount of points that players get in a match, and maybe when they reach a certain point, that is the score that they win by. Do you think that could work potentially in the tennis world?
It would be. I suppose it would be easier to follow, but then I feel like it doesn't give kind of like the undulations of a match that games and sets give you. There's a bit more of a story to tell, I think, when you're playing sets. Like if someone goes a set down or whatever, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's just me being like anti-change, but it feels like it might be slightly more boring if it's just straight points and totaling them up. I don't know. What do you think?
I personally would agree with you. And the reason I would agree with you is you could get, like in this match specifically, you could be quite a few points down, but it resets. Whereas if it's just total points, then you might get somewhat of the way through, and psychologically that you can't come back. One of the reasons I love tennis, one of the reasons I think we all love tennis, is that the insane can happen. The momentum can switch, and a completely different outcome to the one expected halfway through the match could be the one that you're faced with. Take the most obvious example, take the Murray-Kokkinakis match. Yes, I will bring it up again because I think it's one of the best matches that will happen this year. That match was pretty much done and dusted for Thanasi Kokkinakis until Murray came back, basically breaking Kokkinakis' serve on a mental juice point with a mental point that Kokkinakis should have, he should have easily smashed away. That drive, that momentum switch, and suddenly you've got a completely different outcome. Same happened in this final. Rybakina, she looked like she was on course, and Sabalenka just showed that spirit to come back. So, yeah, this is where I'd argue total points are great. We count them up, but this is why we don't really care about them, because it doesn't tell the story.
Yeah, and it's more about dealing with pressure points as well, like points, either like a break point in a game or like towards the end of a set. Yeah, I mean, because as if it wasn't hard enough already, you're out there on your own. But it, like, again, that just adds to kind of the intrigue and the bit of the drama. It's like these. It's a lot of the time it just hinges on these kind of key points. Yeah, and you notice that even with the top players, like I think I saw a stat about last year who won the like highest percentage of points, and it was Djokovic, but he'd won like, I don't know, not even like 54% of points or whatever. So it shows you that he's winning a lot of the key points, the pressure points. So I think, that just makes it more interesting.
No, absolutely. I don't think we can ever really find a supplement for our scoring system. But also, again, these stories bring out our heroes, and these stories bring out the best in these players. And how good was Sabalenka? I mean, to come back and play the tennis that she played was absolutely incredible, especially in a final.
Yeah, I thought, you did wonder kind of how she would deal with it mentally after that first set, and especially that, like, as the second set went on, you thought like Rybakina's getting closer to winning it here, and like Sabalenka's not won a Grand Slam before. I just thought, I thought Rybakina would have just kind of like had enough to get over the line, but I think once Sabalenka won that second set, then that's all it takes, right? Just a little turning point in the second set, and then you're back level, and then it's go for it in the third set.
Absolutely. Now, we've established that you've got 1 out of 1. Bit of a tough quiz on this one. So we'll go for question number 2. Now we're going to bring us to the men's singles final. Not quite the same story, but equally just as interesting a story. Obviously, Djokovic won the Australian Open, beating Stefanos Tsitsipas. Yes, I did say that name with a bit of a struggle. But what I want to know now is the same question. I want to know, how many points did Novak Djokovic win as he beat Stefanos Tsitsipas? Walk us through your answer.
Wait, where's my options?
I'm going to give them to you. I'm just telling you to walk us through the answer.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
option number 1 is 94. Option number 2 is 100. Option number 3 is 112. And option number 4 is 118.
Right. So first of all, I've got to remember what the scoreline was. So the first set was like 6-3 or 6-4, and then it was 2 tie breaks. So instantly, that's 6 games, 7 games. Well, say 7 games. Tie breaks, obviously, you got 7 points in both of them.
Yep.
Whoa. 24, 72, plus a couple more. Some tight games in there. What were the... Just give me the options again, please.
94, 100, 112, and 118.
Trying to think about how many games were like close or went to due. So there was a lot of games. I remember when Djokovic went on a run and he was just like, he hadn't lost a point on serve for like 5 games or something. So there's not... then again, he would have, on Tsitsipas' serve, he would have got a few points. Oh, don't like this. Let's go with... I'll go over 112, but really, I think it might even be less than that, you know. I'll go
Is
over
112 your final answer?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with it. Get the torture out of the way.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that that is also correct.
Oh, wow.
So you got 2 out of 2 so far. Yes, Djokovic won an impressively 112 points, which is 2 points more than Sabalenka needed in order to beat Elena Rybakina. So it's interesting to see, really. You know, there's a lot of arguments out there of, oh, it's not the same length of match, for example, when we talk about equality of prize money. But, you know, they basically won the same amount of points in order to win a Grand Slam. Like, yes, maybe the match could have gone on longer if Tsitsipas was more of an opponent, / Novak Djokovic wasn't quite as incredible. But it's one of those things definitely to consider, that, you know, the reality is pretty much a very similar occurrence. But yeah, how insane was Djokovic? Djokovic with a hamstring injury, might I add. And also... Allegedly. What, taking the injury shithousery to a new level, do you think?
Well, you've seen this many times before when your favourite player played him in the final on a couple of occasions, shall we say, when he got down on the scoreline and he might have, you know, had a little bit of an injury issue and then thrown Murray off a little bit. So it's not like it hasn't happened before. But yeah, he seemed to move fairly normally to me. I don't know. It's just like 1 or 2 occasions where he like fell over dramatically or something. But other than that, I mean, he's played more aggressive, right? So he didn't want to be on the stretch on the backhand too much. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what he's had to deal with. So
yeah, this is definitely the point. I mean, is that injury a genuine injury? And, you know, what we were seeing, is it hyped up a little bit? Is it a little bit for the show? Personally, I don't necessarily think so. I think the showmanship, or lack thereof, was probably coming from the other side of the net. But yeah, I think we can't deny that, and this is why I think it's a good thing that Djokovic is shaping up to probably be the GOAT. I mean, you know, he is one of the greatest men's players of all time, we know for sure, but I think he probably will prove himself to be the greatest of all time in terms of this Grand Slam debate, because he just does all the basics really well. Nothing's amazing. His game's not amazing, but his drive certainly is, and his drive to perfect each element of his game, to being, you know, solid. Again, you wouldn't say his serve is something to marvel at. You know, he's no John Isner. He's not, you know, a tower that can just slap a serve down. He's no Juan Martín del Potro, who had this lightning fast forehand. And he certainly doesn't have that one-handed backhand beauty that Roger Federer did, for example. But, he does every individual thing just perfectly. He can even hit the ball 7 or 8. We've talked about this before, 7-8 kilometers faster than he has in previous years, and not make any extra errors. You have any idea how hard that is at that level of the game? Just nuts.
Yeah, that was the thing that impressed me the most, was just the speed with the accuracy. And because obviously he's playing like closer up to the baseline, maybe because of the injury, and even then he's just like slapping it around, making the other players just look silly. And he just like, so many times you just get that first hit in the point, and then he was pushing the other player around, whereas sometimes you might see him on the stretch quite a lot. But that was just incredible like adaptation, really. I think all these top guys, like Federer and Nadal as well, as they went through their career, they did adjust things as well. You can't stand still ultimately if you want to still be the best. So incredible, really.
Absolutely incredible. I'm going to ask you a controversial question here. So we might have some fans of Djokovic listening to the call. But what did you think of his little jacket at the end?
I thought it was a bit cringe. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you not like the 22 jacket?
I think it would have been better.
Hear Taylor Swift's song playing as you watch him wearing the jacket.
I think it would have been, if he'd have just had a jacket with 10 on because he won 10 Australian Opens, I would have been like, that's cool, because that's, like a unique thing. The 22 thing I just find a bit strange, because it's like, this isn't finished. Like, this is still ongoing. No. So why is 22 suddenly a magic number? Like, Nadal might win more as well.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. And it's not like 22's been a number that's been there for ages and no one's been able to get to. Like, Nadal got it last year at the French. It's not even been a year. So
I don't know. Taylor Swift fan.
For God's sake. I don't know. It's just a bit strange. Maybe it was just a sponsor thing where it's like, we're doing this jacket and you're going to wear it. And he's like, sure. I don't know. Well, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I dislike the concept as a whole. Doesn't matter what player is doing it. I dislike the concept that in his bag, before he started the match, he had that jacket. Like, what do you do at the end of the match if you lose? Okay, yes, you've got a good chance of winning. I know 50% of the minimum, but it's Novak Djokovic. He's playing amazing. What do you do with that jacket if you don't win? Do you save it for the next one to try and do it again? Or, do you bin it, burn it, like donate it somewhere? I don't know. It just seems ridiculous.
Yeah, think about the environment.
Me, the concept. Well, what are we imagining here? That like some poor kid is running around with a 22 jacket, just like, well, he didn't, did he?
This is a collector's item for something that never happened.
Exactly. I think it's nuts printing something until it's happened, let alone the fact that it was this, completely random number. Yeah, right, he's equaled the record currently. But how many more jackets do we need to create? Like, is he going to do it for every Grand Slam now?
I'm just thinking, like, did they make the jacket and then secretly pop it in his bag before he went out? And he was like, opens it up after the match, like, ooh,
Novak, check the bag, check the. No. It's not for me. It's not for me. But I'll tell you what wasn't for me. And that was the kiss ass behavior at the end by the runner up, from someone who is beyond fake at this point. Oh, please like me on the tour, please. I know. Yes, I know. Everyone's going to listen to this and go, oh no, Merlin doesn't like Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas. It's not that I don't like him. He constantly provides reasons for no one to exactly be endeared to him. And I just find it tiring. I just be your honest self rather than this fake personality. I'd much prefer, like, for example, Nick Kyrgios. He's an asshole half the time, but I actually kind of like that because it's a personality on the tour. If you're going to be that person that you really are, just do that. I have much more respect for Tsitsipas if that was the case, but it's just so fake. Oh yeah, I love you, Novak. Yeah, well done. No, you don't. You're sad. You are sad that you missed another chance.
Well, he said, didn't he, that he can't relate to other players on the tour or something. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I always imagine him just like not talking to anyone else on the
I
tour.
imagine him sitting in the corner eating his lunch with his
Yeah.
dad, and
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
other
yeah.
players are like surrounded and having a nice chat. And it's just like, well, if you're going to keep acting this way, then you're going to keep painting yourself that way. And I don't think people quite understand it. I'd love to know who's advising him or if this is his own idea. God, we're coming out like we really dislike him.
We're
Me
trying to help him.
specifically.
We're trying to help
Yeah,
him. Get in
maybe.
touch.
Yeah,
Give me some
get in
PR
touch.
advice.
I don't know. I'm tired of seeing. I'm just tired of seeing that sort of behavior becoming expected. Like, and also, what was it? The commentators asking him at the end of his matches up until the final. It's just like the Australian Open's sort of like your home crowd, isn't it? And it's just like, what question is that? He's Greek. Oh, yeah, you don't have a Greek tournament, do you? Oh, so it must be the Australian Open. So what if it is? So what if it isn't? It's just like you're going to find fans wherever you are for whatever reason. Some people probably just like his long hair. They never heard him talk.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I mean, there's a lot of Greek people that live in Melbourne, I guess. And there's apparently quite a few Serbians there as well, as we found out of the passionate Nole fan base. But yeah, it's a bit cringe, isn't it, really? It's all right kind of showing him respect and stuff, but like, I don't know. Just felt like it didn't feel genuine.
There is a point where it gets a little bit, if Rafa had been saying it, I tell you what, even better if Murray had been there saying it, given, the fights over the years in the Australian Open finals and stuff like that, then it would feel real. But that just didn't feel real. It feels like someone who's trying to pretend he's always in the finals, who's always at the top, and that's not quite how it is. The men's tour specifically, doesn't reflect that way anymore. So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it almost came across like he was happy to lose, but like not get embarrassed, like that it was close. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the belief really that he was going to win that. Like I said, I think beforehand I was like, oh, you do well to like win a set, because just mentally I don't think Alcaraz, like I mentioned him a lot of the time, it's one of the few players that like truly believes that he can beat these guys in a best of 5 match.
And it's that drive and determination that means he'll do it.
Yeah. And obviously he's got the skill set to do it, but yeah, it's a lot about the belief.
I honestly think Tsitsipas has the skill set. I don't think he doesn't have the skill set. It comes down to that mental aspect that gives you the edge these days.
There you go. We've gone offloaded all our baggage on that.
Yeah. We watch your final. I tell you what, I think we're just sore that it's not the big four sort of in all these finals now. It's we're just angry that it's not that way anymore. Anyway, let's move on to the next question, shall we?
Yeah.
So, question number 3. Now we're going to move on to a little bit more of the doubles. What I want to know is actually, and it's often a little bit omitted from not only the conversation, but also sort of the general advertisement of these tournaments. What I want to know is a little fact about the mixed doubles final, and which is becoming slowly and a lot more relevant, especially with the United Cup that was recently held in Australia. So let's not forget about it. What I want to know is, despite the two partners, the two pairs that competed in the final of the mixed doubles tournament, being from the same countries, I want to know what nationality the winners of the mixed doubles were. And your options are Serbian, Australian, Brazilian, or Indian.
So normally I wouldn't have a clue with this, but I happened to flick the TV on Saturday Arvo, as they say over here, when this was going on, or when the end of it happened, and I seem to recall that it was an Indian pair. Well, it was Sanya, wasn't it? Sanya Mirza or something. She's like, very famous doubles player, and Bapana or something, I think, was her partner, against a Brazilian pair that had only come together, I think, just before the tournament. So I remember the girl saying that she was injured, and then this guy offered to to play doubles with her or whatever, and that was kind of like a motivating factor for her to kind of get back in time. So I'm pretty sure that the winners were Brazilian in this case.
Final answer.
Yep.
Well done. You are correct. 3 out of 3. We're doing very well today, considering I thought this was quite a hard quiz. Yes, it was a Brazilian pair that won the mixed doubles final. Very glad that actually we're seeing a little bit more talk about not only doubles in general, which, you know, we've got another story from the Australian Open, which echoes last year, but the mixed doubles as well, which, you know, we're going to see a lot more of with the United Cup and hopefully other tournaments around the season. What do we reckon?
Yeah, I think, well, there's a theme with just the doubles in general, and that these kind of pairings coming together not long before tournaments and managing to click quite quickly, and then, you know, taking out a lot of seeded pairs. That's not to say like doubles is a load of crap, because even if you're seeded, like this, you can lose to unseeded pairs. But it's just interesting how, like, sometimes you get a pair of people that just kind of come together and they may not have played much together, but then they just kind of click and understand each other. And once you win the first match or two, then you build a little bit of confidence, and then, yeah, like, who knows how far you can go. There's not much expectation with it. You can kind of just enjoy it, especially sometimes if you're playing a bit of singles as well. It's almost like can be a bit of a release, I suppose, especially, like, you know, when Kyrgios was playing the doubles last time, and it was almost like a bit of a release from the singles. He almost felt like he'd kind of enjoy himself a bit more. So yeah, I don't know, it just adds kind of some storylines to it, doesn't it? Like different players. The first time I think I paid attention to mixed doubles was probably Jamie Murray when he won that Wimbledon title with, was it Jankovic? I'm trying to remember who it was now. Well, this is ages ago.
Yeah, I remember the year you're talking about. Yeah,
and that was like a big story as well. So I think, as much as like these seeded pairs probably don't like the fact that, you know, these other pairs are coming in having not played much together and, like, you know, going far or winning the tournament, I think it actually brings a bit more attention to it, which actually helps everyone at the end of the day. So yeah, I quite like it. It's good. Adds a little bit of story to it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think that's one of the nice things as well that we're seeing throughout these tournaments is, you know, despite doubles specialists being a thing on the tour for the men's and women's doubles, that doesn't mean that they are always about. And this is why I think we look for the singles to be so consistent with certain players, because that lack of consistency is so beautifully portrayed. We almost prefer the portrayal of that storyline in the doubles, because there's just more to go wrong, as it were. There's more inconsistency to be there. You know, maybe one player is playing amazing, but their partner's not. And that means that as a doubles pair, they're not, you know, the best they could be. Maybe they're both sort of meh in the tournament at the moment, but in doubles, they're both playing quite well. You know, they're still a cut above those that they're playing who might be doubles specialists. And it's nice seeing those weapons put to different use as well, because doubles is a different game to singles tennis. But yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we'll take you on to question number 4. And question number 4 follows on really nicely from the talking point of the fact that we're talking about them having, you know, been a recent partnership. So the men's doubles included another victory by an Aussie partnership. So it's its second year in a row, after last year being Thanasi Kokkinakis and Nick Kyrgios winning the men's doubles final. You know, 2 dream runs. What I want to know is, how was this year's final similar to last year's final with the special Ks? Your options are: they didn't drop a set all tournament. They were wild card entries. They had never played together before in doubles. It was an all Aussie final. So how were the 2 years, 2022 and 2023's men's doubles finals, similar?
Well, that's it. I would have said that they'd never played together before, and I know these guys didn't. But then I'm thinking, had Kyrgios and Kokkinakis played together before they won their title? The wild card thing seems to be pretty likely because they wouldn't have been ranked particularly highly. It's definitely not all Australian final. And what was the other option? Was it the first option?
They didn't drop a set in the tournament.
I don't know about that, so I'm not gonna go with that one. So it's either the wild card or that they hadn't played together before. I'll go with the wild card. It's because they're all Australian. I feel like I don't know whether Kyrgios and Kokkinakis had played doubles together before that. I feel like they might have. So I'll go with the wild card.
You are correct. Well done. So 4 out of 4. We're looking at a potential clean sweep.
What's that Rashford celebration?
Ever. Rashford celebration, yeah. Anyway, yes, it was indeed similar because both years they were wildcard entries, despite them maybe being players who are renowned on the singles tour. In doubles, obviously, they had come together rarely for this tournament. Now, this year, the two players were indeed playing with each other for the first time. So, yeah, there is a little bit of a different thing here. But unfortunately, that was not the case last year with Kokkinakis and Kyrgios, because if you are a keen observer, you will have noticed that when I asked the question and gave you the option, I said that they had never played before together in doubles. I didn't necessarily say on the ATP Tour. Now, any keen observers of the Special Ks will know that they are childhood besties. And yes, they have been playing tennis together for quite a few years when they were teenagers. And so they did play doubles together then. So interesting to know that the reason maybe last year it worked out so well is because, you know, they were genuinely great mates. And that's potentially part of the reason. This year's a little bit different in terms of they literally had never played together before, but still did an absolutely incredible job. I mean, one of them was the junior world #1 at one point, so you know they're not bad players.
That makes it even more amazing, though, that they didn't even know each other really, to suddenly pick up each other's kind of game strengths and weaknesses and just be able to just get along. In terms of personality, that's just crazy, really. So yeah, hats off to them. Jeez, I like that I've got the question right, but for the wrong reason.
Yeah,
but I thought they played doubles on the ATP Tour before the Australian Open, but they hadn't. They'd played when they were younger, so that's interesting.
Exactly. You're a maths teacher. That happens sometimes. The wrong workings to the right answer.
Yep. But you might not get all the marks. No, you still get all the marks. I don't know, actually.
Depends on the examiners, I'm sure. But there are no lack of marks here for that. Yeah, it was indeed the case that both years they were wildcard entries. This is happening more. This is happening more and more. Interestingly as well, Aussies still hold now 2 of the 4 Grand Slam men's doubles titles. Do you know which other Grand Slam that Australians hold the title of still?
Is there a wheelchair doubles? Would it be that one?
No, it's still men's doubles. It's actually one of the answers. It was the reason for last year's final.
Oh, so you want me to name the other pair, right?
Well, it's out of the other pair from last year. They also won a doubles final later in the year. So I'll give you a little bit of a clue. You look a little bit confused here.
Yeah, I'm like, so, wait. The question.
The 2022 Australian Open men's doubles final was an all Aussie final.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
So the other pair, I don't know if you know their name, also won another Grand Slam men's doubles title later in the year. Do you know that Grand Slam? Do you know the players? Do you know anything?
Is one of them Ebden?
Yep, and
Hewitt.
he's not minimum Purcell. He's
Purcell. Max Purcell. For
Max
God's sake.
Purcell. Yeah, sorry, that was a bad joke.
Which one did they win? I don't know. US.
Which
Open?
one did they win?
Gonna guess.
No.
Okay, well, just tell me. I'm not going to
50-50 chance now.
Get out. Go away.
Anyway, that's not one of the questions. No, they
Thank
won
God.
Wimbledon. They won the Wimbledon's men's doubles final.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, let's throw our toys out of the pram and go with a completely random question to finish off, all about the Australian Open. Let's relax ourselves into something a little bit more historic. Question number 5. What I want to know is which legend of the game, who has since retired, holds
Federer.
the record.
Love you.
Wow, you really do love Federer. Which legend holds the record for the youngest winner at the Australian Open? And your 4 options are Martina Hingis, Novak Djokovic, Margaret Court, and Rod Laver.
So this is not Open era. This is all eras, is it?
All eras. The youngest winner.
But you said they'd retired.
I don't know, did I?
Read the question and the answers.
Which legend holds the record for the youngest winner at the Australian Open? Martina Hingis, Novak Djokovic, Margaret Court, or Rod Laver? I don't know what you heard earlier.
I think there might have been a bit of ad-libbing going on there, or I've just imagined it. But anyway, I'm going to pretend that it did happen. So, based on that, I mean, I'm still probably going to get it wrong, but let's go with Margaret Court. Why not? Let's go with that one.
Okay. How do we feel? Do you reckon that 100% is there?
No.
Well, you got that bit right because the answer is wrong. Get a grip. No, it was Martina Hingis, who is the youngest ever Australian Open winner. She was 16 after having started her professional career at the tender age of 15. Yep, only took a year for her to become one of the world's best players.
Light work.
Some people were just incredible, and she was one of them. But arguably, all of those on the list were incredible as well. 16. Bloody hell. Can you imagine that?
Some players just kind of, I suppose they mature a bit quicker, but also then they can, I suppose, can lead them to, I don't know, burning out quicker as well. But didn't she take a break from tennis completely or something? Like, she seemed to like retire when she was fairly young, and then she sort of came back a little bit, but in doubles, yeah. So I missed, like, I haven't seen a lot of her matches and stuff. She was, really young when she started. But yes, that's crazy, 16. I don't know if you'd be able to do that these days with, like, the development of...
Tough job.
Yeah, athleticism and sports science and all that stuff. And everyone's just super athletes these days, so that might be a little bit more tricky. Interesting. Well, 4 out of 5. I'll take that. On one of the harder quizzes that you said. So
we won't say it's a bad score, but you still haven't quite managed 100%.
I'm not sure I'll ever get
there.
Search. That's the Mount Everest of quizzes for me, to get to that 5 out of 5.
Some of us can achieve that, but
maybe I'm too nice with my questions. Could be what it is. Anyway, yeah. Let us know your thoughts on Djokovic's jacket. That's what I really want to know.
Yeah, that's what you really want to know. That's what you really want to know.
Tell me what you really think.
Or Rybakina's bottle. Hey.
Wait, what?
No?
Bottle?
Bottled the match. No?
Oh,
okay.
For God's sake. I should... Yeah, that went straight over my head.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm the tired one here as well.
Yeah, well, normally she closed out her first final, so I don't know.
Okay.
Let's give credit to Sabalenka. Let us know your thoughts on that, and how you did in the quiz, and just general thoughts on the Aussie Open. Do you think that it should just be points? Total points? No. Was that ever a debate?
No.
The debate ended before it started, but anyway.
Yeah.
And if you have liked it, obviously give us a follow on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube. Give us a like, share it around, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one for, I don't really know what we're going to do in the next one. We might be a head-to-head, or who knows. Don't know what tournaments are going on.
We'll keep you on your toes.
We shall. So see you in the next one.